ask me a question, that works. Alright?
Just a second.
Sure. Oh, do you need an HDMI cable? You need an HDMI output? Yeah. Let me help you with that. Guys, I don't do podium talk, so if you don't mind, I'll just be a little bit more free. Okay? Excellent. Hi. Oh wow. Serves my voice better. Okay. We're almost set up, but I'll keep this as brief as possible because we've taken enough time and you guys have your next session. So, hi everyone. My name is Sachin Ramchandani. In case you didn't hear the introduction prior, I'm a founder, AI enthusiast. I have multiple patents in the space, and I'm also a tech architect. I do a lot of business strategy and some venture capital for different funds, right? My experience is very varied, but the only reason is because I'm a little crazy and I like learning on ground. I prefer street learning, and through that, I've learned a lot, right? And I'm hoping I can impart some of that to you guys. Now, while I can't share much about some of my patents until they are published in the AI space, one thing I can tell you for sure, I am very excited about this space and I absolutely love it. Anyone give me any guesses why? I'm lazy as hell and I can't wait for AI to take my job. Okay? How many of you guys, show of hands over here, have heard that AI is going to take your jobs and are afraid that AI will take your jobs? Show of hands. Anybody? Everybody? 1, 2, 3. Are you all being honest with yourselves? Show of hands. Okay, so the rest are actually skilled. Don't mind. Now, honestly, what I want to do is I want to go into a simple construct of explaining AI in the most AI for dummies manner. So I'm going to go as out of syllabus with this, as much as possible. Okay, let's just try and have fun with this. Now, how many of you guys over here are waiting for the next innovation in AI girlfriends and boyfriends? Anyone? Okay, अपने लिए नहीं तो दोस्त के लिए तो सही. We all have that one friend who doesn't stand a chance with like humankind and things like that. You know? So fine. But let's get serious a little bit. Okay? What is AI? Can someone explain to me in one line what AI is? Anyone? No? Okay. Well, to define AI, the ability of using computing power as in an independent capacity is AI. Right? You guys agree with me so far? But that still sounds like jargon to me, right? So what I want to do is break up the concept a little bit so we can understand exactly how AI is from a very fundamental perspective. Okay? You guys remember calculators? Who remembers calculators? Who used a calculator here? I mean, it's 2024. Okay, all of us. So calculators, OG of math, right? King of sum of all things, right? Could add and subtract like a beast. But that's all that it ever did. Fair enough, guys? Yeah? Okay. Now, let's forward a couple of years. There were scientific calculators. Now you could put a square plus b square equals 2ab, add that with tan, minus that with sine, subtract that with cos, and you would get an answer, right? Fast forward a little bit more, and there were a little bit more complexities in math problems, right? Now we move on to your graphic calculators, where you could plot this entire answer on a graph, right? You could get the XY coordinates for what you're thinking for all these complexities. Today, it's very simple. We move towards better computation, easier computation, right? So then we had the age of mobile apps, where the minute you placed your Zomato app, immediately service fees, transport fees, platform fees, ABCD, EFG, XYZ, mandir banane ka tax, everything comes on its own, right? So we've all seen that. Now, let's move a little bit ahead where I'm going to do an experiment for you guys, okay? I'm going to simply ask my Gemini. Do you guys have Gemini on your phone? Okay. So I did this last night already for you guys. I asked my Gemini this exact question. Gemini, what if I calculated the square a square plus b square plus 2ab with 1045 graphically represented on an xy axis with some variables? In under less than 15 seconds, it gave me the answer that all my life problems are equal to $115.56, right? So that makes sense to me. Today computation has reached a stage where it's out of human comprehension as well. And that's a great thing. Why are we at this particular stage with AI? Can anyone tell me? Go ahead.
Explosion of data in the past few years.
Sure, data is the construct of where AI is built. But computation itself, technology has grown to the place where computation has become much easier, right? And because it's reached that point, it's so easy for us to mimic all these human-like processes with very simple hardware, right? And as time goes on, it's going to get even simpler. And as it gets even simpler, wow, look at that. So as it gets even simpler, not only are AI calculators going to calculate that your life problems are equal to 115, but your teachers will also use this to set the most hardest test papers for you guys, right? And hopefully you all pass it all as well. Okay. Now let me explain this again in a very simple manner for those of you all who didn't understand the calculator analogy. Okay. I'm going to move towards a little bit of very bare basic hardware. You remember a needle and a thread? Yeah. There's a lot that one person could do with it, but that was what one person could do with it, right? We of course added a little pedal to that, and it could do the work of 3 people, right? Now we went on a little bit ahead, added 10 to maybe 100 needles on that, and you had a yarn, and the next thing you know, you were at the Phoenix Mall buying your Levi's jeans. Okay. Now all I did was add electricity and a little bit of computation to that, and told it how to operate, right? Now let's add a little bit more computation power to this. Okay. Now Ramesh ji every day in the morning comes to work, turns this machine on at 8 o'clock, closes it at 6 o'clock. Alright. He also loads the raw material himself and takes the finished goods to the warehouse. Fair enough. Now, after adding this computation power, I tell the machine, Papa, it's your job every day to start on your own, end on your own, and basically load the raw materials through the loading bay and use the conveyor system to deliver the goods to the finished goods. Right? What is this? This is basically mimicking a human-like intelligence, right? Could we give this a name possibly? Anybody? Fake intelligence. No, this is artificial intelligence, right? When computation reaches the point to where it can mimic human intelligence, that's where it reaches a state of artificial intelligence. It's acting as an independent, right? Now, like I said, let's add in a little bit more computation power into this. And once we add in this more computation power, we're telling this hardware that Ramesh ji does all of this. You know what Ramesh ji does. Now what I want you to do is observe Ramesh ji every day and take out patterns over 300 days and start mimicking those patterns, right? Now this is where the machine is learning. So can we give that a name? Is there a term for that? Anybody? Ramesh ji ka jadoo. What? Machine learning, correct. So machine learning, right? That's where we reach machine learning. Now, if you add the knowledge of internet, if you add the knowledge that's globally available on all scales, and you tell this machine that, hey, there are certain practices that have been better than others. Why don't you learn from this internet knowledge and create an even more fundamentally efficient process to what Ramesh ji is doing and operate as an independent on your own, right? What happens then? There's a large amount of learning that happens. So this large amount of learning is what these LLMs are mimicking, right? How many of you guys knew that this is exactly how an LLM on a very fundamental level operates is it takes so much knowledge. Like it has a wealth of data, like you mentioned. And what it does is it uses it and computes to give you the answer or the thing that you're looking for. Now, there are many LLMs that are available today, and that space is exploding like crazy. How many of you guys interact with different LLMs? Guys, I know you all write your test papers and your acceptance applications and everything on ChatGPT. Okay. Besides that, which other LLM do you all interact with? Anyone else? Any others? I'll wait. I'm sure you guys have interacted with more than this. Gemini. And? Okay, great. I mean, these are all great examples of LLMs. But most of you, can I just hear a loud yes or no for, I would assume everyone here has interacted with ChatGPT?
Yes.
Everybody's interacted with some other LLM also?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Good. At least I know I'm on the same page as you guys here. Alright. Now, let's see how AI is being used in this day and age. Alright. Let's take very simple AIs before we move back to LLMs. Can anyone give me an example of where they're using AIs in today's day? Anyone? Quick example. Someone from this side? Alexa. Okay. Fantastic example. Okay. I'm going to walk you through a couple of situations. This morning you came to college on the bike. You had your Skull Candy headphones on, auto noise cancellation 2.0, all of these things. Okay. Riding through traffic, zip, zip, zip. Suddenly there's a Mandir Ka Yatra like today. And immediately Google tells you, I mean, of course your tunes are bajwaing. So your Honey Singh or something like that is playing in the background. The mood is good, you don't want to kill the vibe. Suddenly Google helps you not kill the vibe. It tells you 200 meters ahead, take a left. Right? Save 2 minutes. That's one great example of how we're using AI every day without realizing. Another thing is you were listening to that Honey Singh, the next song that had to play was something related to that, right? Maybe Imran Khan's Amplifier or something played next. And mood continued, right? So your teachers are talking or I'm sitting speaking, those guys in the back are scrolling reels. YouTube, after the first funny guy, they're getting the second funny guy, right? So this is exactly how AIs essentially work. When you're watching Netflix in the evening, you watch a movie like maybe Rang De Basanti. Next option comes Three Idiots. You like that too. It's relatable, right? Using human behavior, tracking a lot of data of how people use that particular thing and the kind of movies they like is giving you recommendations, right? It's understanding how human behavior works. This is the beauty of AI. And you can pretty much apply all of these things to every space in the world. Would you guys agree with me or no? Or can somebody give me a live example of where they've used AI? I mean, AI is not always the best. For one reason is, last week I was using my Google photo and it has great AI recognition, the best in the world. And then it asked me this. I mean, that can't be me. She's way prettier than me. So, right? There's a lot of things that AI can do for us, right? It learns for us, it adapts for us, it validates for us, right? It generates for us. Today's day, there was an interesting conversation that Sequoia had about AI and the 2024 vision of AI. And that's where they said that pixels will now be generated, right? And there's a very easy concept which he explains there. I won't dive too much deeper into it because it'll get a little complex at that stage, right? But you guys should check it out if you're more interested in the space. Today's day, where we're using 50 things to say yes and no to before we identify what the character is, right? There's a lot of yeses and nos, and in between is where the entire formation is. But Sequoia's prediction is that that won't be required. Once it understands a certain way, it will start generating that answer with or without the assumptions, right? So machines are hallucinating today's day. Have you guys ever used an AI where it starts hallucinating the answer, right? It's really a lot of fun, right? I mean, it was great. I was asking it about. Tell us your example. You have an example?
Yes, actually,
Go for it.
like we were
You want to give him a mic if that's possible?
so like I was actually going about in about different sorting techniques. So in that, in one way it explains.
I'm sorry, my bad. Maybe that's me. I'll turn mine off. Go ahead.
So in one thing it was saying that one of the techniques which it needed to use, it was actually after application, but it was saying they have to apply it before actually doing that sort,
Hmm.
which was not possible in basically then it was, and even if when we have prompted 2 3 times that what you are saying is wrong, it was hallucinating even more.
Correct, correct. So yesterday we had a situation where I'll come to this situation. So yesterday we had a situation where in the customer support place, okay, we're building a tool that can basically handle the work of a call center, right? And we trained it on the model of this university. It's called Tech Institute or whatever. And we told it that these are the 11,000 courses that this institute offers. Now assume the rest and tell them. So we mimicked a call between a user calling in, an outbound call coming in, and the system interacting with it. And very soon, in some courses, there was a different course material. In another course, there was a different schedule. So we realized things like this, right? So these things happen, and as AI gets more efficient, all of these things are going to get better. I'll give you a few examples of where I personally have used AI and the kind of tools that we're building, so it's a little bit more live example, right? Now, in the startup space, I work with a lot of startups, right? I handle a lot of advisory, a lot of documentation, legal, business strategy. What is the root cause of all my evil? I told you I'm very lazy, right? It's paperwork. Paperwork. Okay. So what we did was we built a platform that simplifies paperwork and document generation for all your legal and business needs. So nowadays I don't type an appointment letter anymore. My boilerplate is already trained in the AI. I just tell it who the name is and it simply generates it. Similarly for my NDA, similarly for everything, right? That's one use case that we've used. Now, there is a personal finance management fund out of Pune, based in Kothur. They were not able to explain to their audience the difference between discovering one mutual fund versus the next, right? So what we decided was we decided to use all the data parameters available to us to create the most concise decision on what the best purchase for that person would be. And based on his portfolio and based on few NLP parameters, it was taking a decision for him, right? Now, in real estate, what we're doing is real estate, one of the problems is payments, or that's a point of inflection, right? So what we're doing is we're using AI to aggregate these payments at different time frames just so it's a little bit more of an efficient process. Okay. Is there any space that anyone likes in particular where we can all collectively come up with an example? Anyone? So in core fintech, let me tell you, one of my patents is being able to graphically represent a legal or financial document, right? So rather than reading the entire 30 pages, you'll see it like a Canva graphic and you'll understand what's in the next 30 pages. Okay, so that's one of the patents that we filed as well and for utility. In the core fintech, another one that we're doing is offboarding processes because there's a million companies doing onboarding, right? What we also do is we use AI aided processes. So today's day, 70% of India still has everything held tangibly. You guys agree? How many of your parents have gold at home? Show of hands, anybody? They still keep money in the drawer, have gold at home. I think all of us, all of India does that, right? 70% of India still keeps tangible wealth. Now, RBI is doing so much work and the government is doing so much work to digitize all of this. But still, there needs to be an easier way. So the easier way is AI aided processes to help digitize a lot of these things, right? So we have a few patents around that space. In the manufacturing, there's a company that I work with called Atoms, right? What they've built is they've built an open-ended software that can connect to pretty much any PLC of your automation line. Plus, what it can do is learn from that automation line and make it more efficient, right? So it will try things in very microscopic test manners, and it will figure out the most efficient way to do these things. Aggregation, all kinds of aggregation is using AI. Can anyone tell me where they use an aggregator? Anyone? Any space? You were saying something? Anyone, any space you use an aggregator now? Guys, this is getting kind of boring. Am I getting boring now? Someone said something? In content writing. Okay. So, aggregation is happening even on the LLM side, right? There's things like DaVinci, which use multiple large learning models. And what they do is they give you an even more efficient answer. So, aggregation is a great part. So, even in terms of for the paperwork thing, what we use is multiple LLMs. So you can always apply different LLMs. Like Claude is more humanized, ChatGPT is more logical, right? You can use the benefits of either and actually create your solution. Okay. Customer support again, like I said, is a huge space. So yesterday I was sitting with one of my clients. I'll give you another live example. They had come in from Tanzania and they wanted to build a co-working space, but the co-working space is only propositioned around hourly rentals for that particular desk, right? So it's a co-working that has like hourly rentals, and you can go there and book a hot seat. So all I did was there's an app called UiZard. Have any of you guys used UiZard? Okay. So there's an app called UiZard. I simply told it that this is the entire thing in under 3 lines. And I told it that I would like the output to be modern, young and techy. And in under 2 minutes, it generated this whole thing for me. Flexi desk booker, it did the entire screens for the booking, the type of desk, the categories, the whole basket, and gave me the entire script for it, right? The whole code was available as well. In under 2 minutes. You guys actually try this today, right? I wasn't connected to the internet, so I said I won't do this live. But try this. Use uizard.io, and in under 2 minutes it will generate an app for you with the code. Back in the day, it would take my team of 10, 15 people about 2-3 weeks to reach this point. Now it does not even take that long. It literally takes 2 minutes. And as time goes on, as more things are involved with this, it will get even more efficient, right? For you guys, there's a lot to prospect in the future with AI. The only way to prospect is by not fearing it. It does nothing bad for you. It will only improve your lives. Over the next 10-15 years, there are huge opportunities in the space, right? I mean, I was scrolling Instagram, and it told me earn 2.5 crore rupees for being a prompt engineer. How many of you guys have seen that ad? Yeah, I think we all have, right? The unique opportunity is not that, my friends. That's a marketing hook. The unique opportunity is you and what you can do with it. Okay? This can be applied in any space, literally any space. I'm sitting here talking, and my camera could track my movements in the next second and record, and I don't need to keep positioning myself back again. Right? Application. Anything you guys are doing. Your chair, you're sitting on it, right? You're uncomfortable after half an hour. There's a cushion in the bottom that just inflates and deflates. It uses different adjustments to make you more comfortable, so you can sit for extended periods. Application, right? Extended drives, truckers, that would be a great solution. Look at me just throwing patents away, guys. Come on, file your provisionals tonight. But I'm just saying, AI can be applied literally anywhere. Anywhere you put your mind to it, anywhere that you put your brain to it, anywhere you put your heart to it. The unique opportunity is not the 2.5 crores. I promise you, get into the space and you will see 2.5 crores in a daily, in maybe a week, right? The unique opportunity is you guys. You guys are the future, AI is the future. If you all go hand in hand, you'll have the world to conquer. Fair enough? Is there any questions? Can you guys just yes or no? Was this easier for you guys to understand than normally all the jargon that you all have heard? Okay. Now will you understand the jargon better? Okay. Because I think fun is there, right? Once you know the exploits of an industry, diving deep is the fun part, right? I just took you on a shelf dive to show you that, oh, I enjoy skimming the water, I like jet skiing, I like doing this. But the fun is when you dive deep. Don't be afraid to dive deep. Okay? I'll take maybe two questions, guys, and then I have to head to Bombay. Anyone? I'm happy not to take questions. I said I was lazy. I meant it.
So recently, like I read an so recently I read an article where it talked about like how when AJ comes into the picture, small scale business are going to be affected because when they try to implement AJ, they do not have the capital to actually train models. Like recently, Nvidia released its new chip, which costs about $30 to $40,000, which as for small businesses, it is not possible to actually acquire them to train their models. So how do you see this affecting the overall landscape when AGI comes into the picture?
So the agentic model is amazing for me, in my opinion. Okay, uh, it does the task entirely using its own computation, and that's beautiful, right? The new Nvidia chip today, and the entry barrier is price. But which hardware in the world didn't start at that, right? Today, are we actually using hardware to compute? No, we're using cloud. Guys, not the one you see from the plane, huh? But we're using cloud, right? So nothing stops us from reaching that point even with this. At the entry of everything, there is a certain cost, right? And that comes at the cost of developing or advancing technology to that point. Very, 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 very soon, the costs are going to go down, efficiencies are going to go up. And at that time, small scale businesses will have access. It's not that small scale businesses don't have access even today, right? I mimic a lot of human like processes and tasks using the agentic model today. But I'm relying on the computation power of others, SaaS providers, service providers, things like that, right? Everyone can do that as well today. That hardware is not a mandate, it is the more efficient way to do things. And as it progresses, the cost will also drive down. Do you agree with me?
Yes.
Did that answer your question though?
Yes, sir.
Anyone else? Anything? I think we're good then. Thank you guys. Oh, one second.
Sir, I have a question regarding the creativity model because AI is also generating the same amount of, let's say, any of the UI and UX designs, which are also pleasing to the audience. So does that limit the creativity scope of the users?
I mean, okay, let's look at it this way. Yesterday, I tried to generate this entire conversation or this whole speech or talk that I'm giving to you maybe 50 times. It didn't work because it's not that creative, right? I needed to be able to relate to you. So I tried to see where you guys were. I empathized. Empathy is still one thing that machines can't mimic, right? So for the next 10 years, use that to your advantage, right? Creativity, while it comes to creativity, it's mimicking patterns. It's using data, right? But something it can't do is be unique in its own direction. It's using a lot of things to come up with unique models. But you, as human intellect, have so much more. And like I said, for a certain situation, empathy is the driver. So let's say I'm handling the marketing directives of a client, for example. Me understanding that client, who he is and what he's looking for, is way more efficient uh, than anything that a learning model would generate or a generative AI would generate. But at the same time, if I use that empathy as a driver and then I used a learning model or a generative model, I'd be way more efficient. Right? Cool. Did that answer your question? Yeah? Okay. It's important for me to ask because sometimes I tend to rant. Would you like that?